Because at some point it's going to come down to, usually things come down to fear of getting dead. That's really what it all comes down to. The survival instinct is the primary driving force of this whole incarnation. And evolving the survival instinct is the path of ascension. So it starts with, if they control me, they can kill me, is probably in there someplace in this conversation. Okay, so if they control me, they can kill me. And it's like, all right, great. You've had so many lifetimes or alternate expressions where that's been the truth. But if you look around, mostly probably in Miami and probably everybody else, in general, not in specifics, of course, but in general, especially in the United States, not going around killing people off the way they did in the past. Okay, so part of what you can do is relax the survival instinct slightly by saying, okay, I have a fear of getting dead, but I'm not getting dead, and there's not an imminent threat to my life right now. That usually helps you kind of come back to the moment and get out of any of that residual DNA-based survival fear. And then you can say, I don't like to be controlled. I don't like to be controlled. And then look at your life and see where you do think you're being controlled. Where do I think I'm being controlled? Is it my wife, my business partner, my kids? Where do I feel like I'm being controlled? And then you can evolve your relationship to being controlled, because the reality is you create your reality. And no one can actually control you unless you give them the ability to. And one of the ways you're giving them the ability to control you is by reacting with an out-of-control emotion about something, rather than saying what's true to me. When I see the information about the flu shot, I feel rage because it makes me feel like they're going to try to control me. And I know I'm the only one who controls me in my life. Because at the bottommost point, you can control your reaction to anything. Therefore, that's how you control your world. You create your world by choosing the reactions you have to everything you experience.
Okay, that's great advice, and I will keep that in mind next time I see that sign.
Yeah, and next time you see anything that feels like control. So it'd be interesting to see, when there's a detour on the road, do you feel like you're being controlled? When you're put on hold when you call a company, do you feel like you're being controlled? It'd be interesting to see where other ways you feel like you're being controlled pop up in your life, and allow each of those ways to illuminate. And then at some point you get to the point where you laugh. You think, oh, look at that. I feel controlled by that. Isn't that funny that I would give it that power, when the reality is I'm choosing right now whether or not to feel controlled.
Mm-hmm.
You could be herded into a building with no windows right now, and you could still not feel controlled if you chose not to. And it's not, I'm going to choose not to as in, like, I'm going to cover my eyes and pretend this isn't happening. It's even though I'm in an environment that anyone else would say is me being controlled, I still have the choice as to whether or not I perceive this as control, or whether I continue to choose my reactions to the situation, even in an environment that other people seem to have some control over.
Mm-hmm.
This is how some people can be in certain kinds of detention facilities and they go a little crazy, and some people are in detention facilities and they come out like monks.
Sure. Is there a purpose to life?
Growth, transformation, ascension, giving the soul an opportunity to know all kinds of different things. We say, look, you guys are here in the human body. You could do anything you want, and what do? You climb the tallest mountains. You run 200 miles through the desert. You ride your bicycles till you fall off. You guys try to do crazy hard things all the time. So does it make sense that if in a human form you would do crazy hard things that are actually physically painful, that as a soul you'd want to do crazy hard things too? Of course it does. Of course it does. You all could just sort of lay flat, but instead you do these enormous feats of endurance and perseverance and challenge, and you create companies and you build bridges and you have babies and you do amazing things all the time. Why? Because you're curious, interested beings and you want to have these experiences. So as souls, multiply that by like 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So of course you would do something like have a series of 75 incarnations on Earth. Of course you would. Because you're interested in doing things that are new and challenging and fun and different. And that help you to grow, that help you to know more. If you had a little kid that's in 2nd grade and he said, okay, I took math, and he learns 2 + 2 is 4, and that's great, and then he just stops there, yeah, okay, But then that same kid could go on and learn calculus. Well, most of you want to know calculus because why not? What else am I doing today? And so Earth is kind of like the postdoctorate work. It's not the easy place. It's not. We like to say Earth is not for wimps, and it's true. Earth is not for wimps. Earth is not for wimps.
How about 2012? Do you have anything to say about
absolutely.
that?
Just like Valentine's Day and Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween and Easter and Mother's Day and Father's Day, you have all these days that you've pre-programmed as a society to mean certain things. Just like we talked earlier about certain words have certain meanings. You've pre-programmed certain things. 2012 is pre-programmed to be a transformational point. It will also be an energetically transformational, energetic portal type point. There are a lot of different things about 2012, late 2012, that are opportunities, doorways, let's call them. But you've also got a lot of hype. Just like you've got hype for Valentine's Day and everybody knows what they're supposed to do, you've got a lot of hype for late 2012, say December 2012. So what we like to do is when Valentine's Day comes along, we like to say, okay, let's use that hype for personal growth. Let's look at this holiday in a way that helps you with what's in your lap. So when 2012 comes along, let's use that. Let's use the energy that's built up around it and that was sort of pre-programmed into it as an opportunity for growth. So yes, 2012, the 2012 timeline is a big deal, and it's a big deal because humans tend to function in different ways when they have what you call a deadline. Now, it's not a deadline in the sense that get it right or you die. It's a sense of like people know Christmas is 5 days away. If I want to have packages for people, I better get them by then, right? So late 2012 is coming fast, and if you're interested in taking part in the energetic opportunities, just like taking part in the festivities of Christmas, you probably want to have some packages. If you want to take part in the energetic opportunities late 2012 offers, there are a few things you might want to be focusing on now. And those things are what we covered earlier. Creating your reality, I'm not a victim, responsibility for my reactions to my creations, living consciously, knowing why you do what you do, taking responsibility. Don't fire hose on people. If you're having an emotional experience inside, don't take it out on everybody around you. Deal with it inside in the sense to take responsibility for it. Instead of yelling at someone and feeling like a victim of them, say, I feel like this when you act that way. I take responsibility for my reactions to my creations. So the 2012 thing comes up, and the quote pressure of the timeline assists us all in getting people focused. And there are energetic truths to that point in your timeline as well. That certain things are easier at certain times. Just like going Christmas shopping is probably easier when it's not snowing. The 2012 timeline has its own energetic components to it that make it easier as well.
All right. Let me see if we have would you like to talk to our guest today, the Eloheim?
We can talk to a couple people, but we've been with you here for a while, so we don't want to wear Veronica out because we have our meeting tonight as well. So maybe one or two quick questions, especially if they're questions that have to, focus questions. We can take a couple if they're interested.
No, we just got dead silence.
Okay,
so
that's all right.
We're ready to wrap it up then.
That's all right, too. That's absolutely all right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Now, do you wish to speak to Veronica again?
Yes.
Okay, so give us just a moment to transition, and we enjoyed very much talking with you today, and you had lots of great questions, and we thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Okay, give us just a moment, Veronica. We'll come back. Ooh, hi.
All right. Veronica, that was great.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And we are almost out of time, and I know you have a channeling tonight, so why don't you give out your website, how people can get a hold of you, and all of that good stuff.
Oh, thank you for that opportunity. Yeah, the website is Eloheim.com. That's Eloheim.com. And on the first page of the website, there are two things I'd like to point out to people. I just recorded an introduction video, and it answers questions people submitted to me on the Internet. And there's a lot of questions there that we didn't get to today that I think people will find really interesting, especially questions about what it's like for me to be channeling. There's a more in-depth. There's also a link to who we are. That's a long description of what it was like to first channel Elohim and what it's like since then. So, and I've created separate pages for each council member so people can see how different they are with video.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so we've just revamped the website in the last couple of weeks, so there's lots of new information on there, so people who maybe have already been to the website might like to step back in. And then on the first page there's a link to our our upcoming channeling, which of course is tonight at 7:30 Pacific. People can join us. All the information's there, and we are going to have our Q&A with Elohim. So if people do decide they have a question for Elohim, they can ask it on this Sunday, the 19th at 3 p.m. And we typically have that Q&A every third Sunday. But next month we're going to have it on 10/10/10, just because we can.
Okay, terrific. Veronica Torres, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Veronica.
Oh, you're very welcome. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you.
Let's do it again sometime.
Oh, I'd love to. Just let me know when you have an opening.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and thank you, everybody who's listening in. This is Tom Murasso from BornToManifest.com. We will speak to you again next week, and thanks for listening. Peace out, and we love you.